Welcome to the Clique podcast. I'm Dani Watson, a mindset and manifestation expert and founder of the Clique, a company that helps women overcome their fears and limiting beliefs to create a life and business that they love. Within this podcast, I will help you get clear on what you want, identify the blocks that are holding you back, transform your mindset and raise your vibration so that you can co-create magic with the universe. If you are looking to design a life that truly sets your soul on fire and manifest more success and abundance, then you are in the right place. Hello ladies, happy Monday. I hope you've all had a wonderful Easter weekend, or at least it has just been Easter weekend at the time that this podcast will get published. I have had a lovely Easter weekend chilling at home with the family. We did a little Easter egg hunt for the kids, which is really nice, in our garden, and we finally got to christen our swimming pool, which for those of you who've been listening, I bought a home. We moved our family to Spain, southern part of Spain, at the beginning of this year, and it's been the first time we've been able to actually get in the pool because we had pretty bad weather when we got here, really sort of heavy rains, which to be honest, doesn't really happen often in this region of Spain. And apparently it was very much needed, but not so great for us when we just moved here thinking that, okay, this is going to be our life in the sun. It did nothing but rain for pretty much a whole month. So yeah, we had a really, really lovely Easter weekend. We did an Easter egg hunt in the garden with the children, which was really nice. And yeah, we finally got to take a dip in our lovely pool. Something that I have bought recently, which it kind of got me thinking about a good podcast topic. So I've bought, it's basically this thing that goes in your hair. It's called the heatless curl. It's like a silk kind of long snake thing that you kind of loop over your head and then you kind of wrap your hair around it. I'm somebody that loves the idea of being able to have amazing wavy hair and doing all of these things. But the reality is I've got 2 children. I'm running a business. I've got a pretty full schedule and I don't necessarily want to be sat down in front of a mirror for an hour trying to sort of curl my hair with GHDs, which is what I had done previously. Anyway, you might be thinking, where am I going with this? Well, I bought this thing and it's basically takes, I'd say, less than 5 minutes to put it in my hair. You leave it in overnight and then in the morning I take it out and it makes my hair just beautifully wavy. And what is really good about it for me is that it is very, very, very low time consuming. It doesn't take a lot of energy or effort from my half and I get amazing results with it. And this kind of got me thinking about various products that I use within my life that I think have really sort of heightened my vibration. Because let me tell you, this thing has really raised my vibration. It might just seem like a superficial thing, but I get really stressed and anxious if I want to do something that I know is just going to take me longer than what I want to commit for doing it. So say, for example, previously I would curl my hair with GHDs. I'm not very good at doing my own hair. It would take me ages and it would, to be honest, it would always look a little bit shit. So I am all for something that's just going to make my life easier, because when my life is easy and effortless and easy and just fun, I'm saying that word easy quite a lot here, but I find that is when I am my most high vibe. So yeah, it got me thinking about other things that I use or products that have really just been game changers for me in terms of how I live my life and subsequently have really, really helped me to raise my vibration. Now, with full disclosure, what I want to chat about on this episode aren't necessarily sort of products you would typically relate to, manifestation or law of attraction or mindset work. And the purpose of this isn't to talk about some of those sort of spiritual tools that I use. I love crystals, for example, and, I love to use crystals around my home as a way to raise my vibration. I'm not going to talk about those things. I want to talk about the more sort of everyday sort of lifestyle products that have had a real impact on my mood, my vibration, my mindset, and just my overall kind of sense of well-being. So first things first, I want to talk about the products I use to enhance my sleep. Now, I want to talk about these because I feel like sleep is a huge part of the manifestation process. And I think I've actually done an episode before on how to actually manifest whilst you sleep. But sleep is a way to really cut yourself off from the busyness of doing and allow yourself to just be. Because when we're sleeping, we're obviously just lying there, okay? We're kind of decompressing and we're not stuck in that do mode. And I almost see sleep as kind of your way to press the reset button. Because when you've had, let's say, for example, you've had just one of those days, right? One of those negative days where nothing feels like it's going your way. And it's very easy for that to sometimes, for you to kind of think, oh no, am I entering into sort of this downward spiral or a season of negativity? And it's often easy or tempting to think that that negative day needs to carry on into the week, it needs to turn into a negative month. But actually, your sleep is a way every day at the end of the day to hit that reset button. And when you wake up in the morning, know that this is your blank canvas now, and you can choose to start the day with positivity, with joy, with happiness, and lead from that place of high vibration versus low vibration. But I feel like as a way to kind of do this, it's almost like using your sleep to kind of turn it into this intentional thing. So let's say you have had a negative day, or it doesn't necessarily need to be a negative day, like using the end of your day to really be intentional about what you want to create tomorrow. Okay, so rather than just reflecting what you've done that day or what you need to do tomorrow, it's getting really clear and intentional about how do I want to show up when I wake up first thing in the morning? What do I want tomorrow to bring for me? What kind of experiences do I want to have tomorrow? So kind of turning sleep into this more of a ritual rather than just a thing that we do without even thinking about it. And so the products that have really helped me do this, I love to have sort of like routines, a morning routine, an evening routine. And some of the products that I've used have really kind of enhanced my evening ritual. So I'll tell you about a few of these. My first thing, I guess, it is a product. It's investing in really beautiful, soft, high quality bedding. I don't know about you, but there's something pretty special about getting into a freshly washed bed with beautiful, soft, clean sheets and wearing a pair of beautiful, fresh pajamas. So these are things that I don't class as, frivolous purchases. I class them as an investment into my mental health, into my vibration, because I know that having this ritual for me in the evening makes a world of difference. So typically, pajamas, I will always wear, it'll have to be a natural fiber. It will either be cotton, but most of the time I will either wear linen pajamas or I will wear silk pajamas. And honestly, I previously would have perhaps just chosen anything. And I have definitely found, and this might sound weird, but I've definitely found the how I sleep and the feeling I get as I get into bed, that kind of feeling of abundance, of luxury, of just really kind of looking after myself and making kind of going to bed a ritual and this really, this self-care experience rather than getting to the end of the day, just throwing on anything and thinking, oh my God, I'm absolutely drained, climbing into bed and maybe just zoning out in bed, watching some crappy show for 3 hours. Rather than doing that, it's like, how can I make this routine, something so simple, into this real kind of luxurious ritual? And for me, this has been about, choosing the highest quality bed linen, really pajamas that make me feel amazing. I also use a sleep mist. So at the moment, I'm using the neon sleep mist, which I like to spray on my pillow. If at the moment, actually, I've got these amazing blinds now on my windows, but if I know that there's going to be light coming in, I would use a silk sleep mask. And just, again, almost kind of creating this sort of, like if you were going to stay at a hotel for a night, when you step into a hotel room and you kind of have this really, it's something new, it's something different, kind of creating those rituals into your everyday life just to make it feel a little bit more special, a little bit more abundant. Now, another purchase that I have found that has really kind of helped the vibration of my home has been switching, well, I guess a number of purchases really, but it's been switching to non-toxic products as much as possible. So environmentally friendly products that use either very, very few toxins or are completely natural. Now, I'm kind of referring here mostly to cleaning products. Now, when it comes to things like skincare and like health and beauty and things, I must admit, I went through a phase of thinking I wanted to cut out toxins completely from my life because I could really feel that in doing so, it really shifted my energy. I felt like my vibration was definitely raised. So I tried to give this a go in terms of my skincare products, but actually I realized there's certain skincare products that are chemical based, which just work really, really well for me. And so I'm not quite ready to kind of fully give up toxins when it comes to skincare and beauty. There's certain products such as like retinols and certain acids that I love to use, which I just don't really want to give up. But when it comes to the products that I use in my home and the cleaning products, switching to a completely sort of toxin-free product base, I definitely feel has made a huge difference to the energy and the vibration of my home. So I am a huge fan. It's a brand called Kinfil, which are completely natural, beautifully scented, like aromatherapy style cleaning products, which I think they're from a company in Denmark, and they come in these beautiful, beautiful reusable glass bottles, and then you buy kind of the little vials of essential oils, which you basically just mix with water, and that becomes your cleaning sprays. Equally, I also use eco products when it comes to my clothes, and it was just one of those things that I initially did to kind of be a little bit more environmentally friendly, but actually I really started to notice the energy that my home had. And it's a really kind of a hard thing to describe and explain, but it was like I just instantly knew like the difference of when I was using toxic materials in the house versus when I wasn't. And you know when you kind of spray let's say a cleaning spray, and it smells really kind of chemically and toxic, and you kind of breathe it in and it makes you feel just kind of yucky and quite heavy. Like that is breathing in negative energy. Just think about what that is doing, not just to your physical body, but just to your energy levels, your vibration. If something's going to make you instantly not feel great, like that creates that ripple effect. And sometimes we don't think of these little things, something so small as, breathing in something toxic, because it's just such a tiny thing that happens throughout our day. But actually that can really make a huge difference. The constant buildup of that can really make a huge difference, I believe, on our vibration. So for me, switching to those non-toxic products that really smell amazing, they're natural, they kind of smell really fresh. And I am fully, in belief about the powers of aromatherapy and the powers of scent actually to really lift your mood and enhance your vibration. And so for me to come into a home that just smells of these incredible essential oils, and that's obviously cleaning the home as well. It's a really amazing lift for my vibration and for my mood. Let's move on to another product, and that is another amazing investment that I've made, and it is my juicer. So I discovered somebody called the Medical Medium. I don't know how I discovered him. And if I'm being completely honest, I think it was from watching an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But anyway, I discovered the Medical Medium. You can look him up on Instagram. And he very much advocates for, plant-based. And it's all about, filling your body with nutritious greens and fruits and vegetables, and the impact that they can have. And there's lots of different things that he suggests and recommends, but one thing that kind of seems to be his signature thing, and it's something that I've adopted for myself, and it's something that I also recommend our students start doing as part of their journey into becoming a coach, because this is how important I think it is in terms of helping and supporting your overall vibration, your mindset, and that is celery juicing. So my juicer, I use it for lots of different things, but for celery juicing, filling your body first thing in the morning before anything else touches your lips with a fresh, organic celery juice, honestly will do absolute wonders for your energy levels and your vibration. And obviously we're thinking here, not just about how we feel in that moment, but the kind of ripple effect that that's going to have onto our lives and what we are subsequently able to manifest. All of these little things that I'm talking about, they're not just little life hacks, but the use of these things consecutively and kind of using different products or different rituals to enhance your overall sense of well-being. I think sometimes we underestimate the power that can have on our life as a whole. Okay, so, having one celery juice one day, one off, probably won't do all of that much. But when you start to incorporate that as part of your daily ritual, what you're doing, first of all, you are choosing to see yourself from that place of love. So rather than just going straight for the caffeine or whatever first thing, you're saying, I am being really mindful about what I'm putting into my body, and I'm making sure I'm choosing something intentionally that I know is really going to give me energy, it's going to fill me with goodness, and it's going to raise my vibration. And when we do that every day consecutively, we get into this place of, I am worth looking after. I am worth, living my best life. I am worth, feeling amazing and feeling energized. And once we start to kind of do one little thing for ourselves, it becomes easier then to do lots more things for ourselves, things that we know are going to really serve us and benefit us. So yeah, for me, celery juice, admittedly, doesn't taste great. It will take you a while to perhaps get used to this. But yeah, for me, my juicer has definitely been a huge investment into my mindset and my vibration. Now, I do also just want to talk about the things that we wear a little bit. So clothes and shoes and handbags and makeup and whatever it is that you choose to put on that makes you feel amazing. Because for me, I kind of went through this period, and I think many people often go through this when they get into sort of the spiritual world and they start to convince themselves that, oh, well, if I am interested in sort of shopping or buying things for myself, that materialism is not spiritual. And I definitely went through this phase and I thought, okay, I'm stepping into this path and everything I'm going to wear is either going to be yoga pants or nothing. And admittedly, I do love a good pair of yoga pants and I love to feel comfortable. But I also realized that for me, wearing a beautiful dress or some beautiful jewelry or just a handbag that I absolutely love makes me feel incredible. And why should we be denying ourselves the opportunity to feel amazing whenever we can? And so I see kind of the clothes that I buy or the jewelry that I buy or whatever, the accessories I buy as investments in me, investments in how I feel. Because I know that I definitely show up differently into the world when I've put thought and care into what I'm wearing that day. I've not just thrown anything on. I've actually kind of spent time for myself getting ready that morning, and I'm wearing something that just really, really makes me feel good. It has a huge impact on my vibration. It also has a huge impact into how I show up within my business. Now, this might not necessarily apply for everybody. I know some people, they feel their best selves when they are, throwing on a pair of yoga pants. And that's kind of when they feel the most comfortable, the most relaxed. But for me, I thought I wanted to share this because I know I definitely kind of battled with this concept that being spiritual meant being not materialistic at all. And I don't think it's necessarily about materialism, because for me, materialism is about just wanting things for the sake of having them, and the joy from those things being very, very short-lived. And I've definitely recognized when I fall into patterns of perhaps buying things or over-consuming, and it's almost kind of falling back into an old pattern that I had previously, where I used to shop as a way to zone out rather than tuning in. So shopping was my way of numbing myself from my emotions, from what I was feeling. So I make sure that now if I'm purchasing something, if I'm investing in, clothing or something to wear, that it's a really intentional process. And, I'm not kind of using the process of buying or consuming as a way to just avoid with what I should be really dealing with at the time. But kind of going back to what I said, this whole idea that, spending money on clothes is a superficial thing. I really, really battled with this. And I think because I had a lot of guilt and shame around how I shopped previously, when I first stepped in my business, I kind of made this commitment to myself, like, I'm not going to be that person anymore. I don't need all of that stuff. But it's not about needing it. It's just about wanting it and being, accepting of the fact that that does actually bring me joy. I like to wear nice things, and that's okay. And I can still be a spiritual person and be well dressed, and wear like a really great pair of shoes. There is no harm in that. It's not a shameful thing. It's nothing to feel guilty about. And so, I think the message that I kind of want to give you, ladies, for this podcast episode is really just to kind of figure out your own things that bring you joy. Like, what are your own kind of little life hacks or products or things that you want to spend money on? And I think the thing here is to think about, like, if nobody knew that you had this thing, like if nobody was going to, let's say, see you wearing the dress or, see you in the fancy car, if nobody else was going to kind of be seeing you with those things, would you still want it? And I think for me, this has been a really good question to ask, because sometimes we think we want something because we think, oh, well, if I have that, it's going to make me appear a certain way to other people. So, if I have a fancy car, it's going to make me look more successful. Or, if I wear a certain piece of clothing, it's going to make me look a little bit more polished for that certain group of people. And we often make then choices based not upon our true authentic desires, but what we feel like we should be doing as a way to feel validated or accepted. And that's not what I'm talking about here. It's really about owning your desires and being unapologetic about them, and knowing that those desires are just true for you. And they're just things that bring you joy, regardless of what anybody else thinks about them. So these are always questions that I like to ask myself to check in, before I invest in something or purchase something. Like, am I doing this just for me? For the pure fact that it will bring me joy. So I did this actually recently. So we are in the process of trying to find a car for our ever-expanding family. So I've got 2 small children, and I've also got one on the way. So I'm going to have 3 children in car seats. And we also have a dog. And, typically we now live near the beach. So obviously going to a day, for a day by the beach involves taking a lot of stuff with you when you've got kids. So we need a big car. So we were in this process of, trying to figure out the car that we wanted. And I never thought I was somebody that was like that into cars. And that kind of all changed. I don't know, when I started to kind of allow myself to think bigger and dream bigger. And I realized sometimes, and maybe you're guilty of this as well, we convince ourselves that we don't want something, but that is often a story we're telling ourselves because deep down we don't believe we can have that thing. And so for ages, I convinced myself I don't really care too much about cars. because it felt really it felt quite just big and extravagant to kind of think about manifesting a car, especially when I was at the beginning stages of my business. Like the thought of manifesting a car and a house, and sometimes it would feel quite overwhelming. So, often we do this, we convince ourselves, I don't need this, or I don't want it, or that's not important to me. But, if somebody was to gift you that, and you didn't have to, you didn't have to earn it. If somebody was to gift you that, would you turn it down? Would you be excited? And I started to realize that actually, I do quite like cars. And there's nothing, again, to be ashamed about for admitting, you like a certain thing if that thing brings you joy. But coming back to what I was saying, when we decided, okay, we need to look for a car, something that I checked in with myself, I was asking, is this really the car that I want? Or am I choosing this car because I feel like it will make me look a certain way? Or, am I trying to kind of prove myself successful by having this? Or am I trying to get validation from others? And I realized actually the car that we've decided to go with is the best option for us. It's a car that we really like. And we are still, by the way, in the process of manifesting this car. We didn't realize how difficult it would be to get a car out here in Spain. I don't want to digress too much into this. The waiting lists for a new car were like a year long. So we're trying to find a second-hand version of the car that we want. But yes, it's proving very, very challenging. But my point is, before I digress too much, is that, it's a really good idea if you're choosing a product to invest in, just checking in, do I want this just because I want it? Is this just going to be something that brings me joy? Or am I feeling like I need to have this to kind of appear a certain way to others? It's a really good just sort of check in to make sure that you are leading from that place of love for yourself rather than that place of needing validation from others. And I think that's a really important distinction on when you make these purchases for yourself and for your own well-being. I feel like I could have talked about a lot more products during this episode. I thought it was a little bit of a different sort of topic to bring to you ladies today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Come and say hello to me, Dani_Watson_coaching on Instagram. I love receiving your messages. I try to get back to everybody who messages me. And it sometimes can take me sort of a week or so, but I do make sure I get back to everybody who messages me. So come over and say hello on Instagram. And yes, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week, ladies, and I will catch you on the next episode. If you're wanting to build your own successful online coaching business, make sure to check out Freedom, Abundance and Impact, our free 10-day business and mindset course for coaches and aspiring coaches. To access, simply head to wearetheclique.com and click free course in the menu.